The air is still, not empty, but waiting, as though the world itself has paused mid-breath. In the western reaches of Aman, beyond bright courts and ringing laughter, there stands a place where sound goes to think twice before existing. Pillars rise like frozen thoughts, shadows lie where light has chosen not to argue, and time behaves with unusual politeness. This is the Halls of Mandos, and within them sits Námo, the Doomsman of the Valar, already aware of every footstep that will ever echo on the stones. He does not look up in surprise, because surprise is not something the future bothers him with. Welcome to the Elder Darkness. On this journey, we drift not toward blazing heroics or sword-bright glory, but toward silence, memory, and the weight of words that cannot be unsaid. You might find yourself somewhere in the story, perhaps uncomfortably close to a choice you once made and can never quite take back. If you enjoy this slower walk through Middle-earth's deeper shadows, do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps the tale travel farther than even the eagles dare. And while you're here, leave a comment telling us where in the world you're listening from. Mandos already knows, but it's polite to tell the rest of us. Now, lie back and relax as we travel to the world of Middle-earth. Halls of Doom awaken. Mandos is not loud. He does not rule by thunder, nor by the spectacle of power. He sits, and that is enough. Among the Valar, he is counted as a judge, yet even that word feels too small. He is less a speaker of doom than its custodian, the keeper of sentences already woven into the music before the world had corners. When he speaks, it is said that Manwë himself listens, and when he is silent, even Melkor once hesitated. Briefly, but still, that counts. From the beginning, Mandos knows more than he says, and says only what must be heard. Middle-earth historians still debate whether his foresight is absolute or conditional, whether he perceives a single unbroken future or many branching roads narrowing as choices harden. What is certain is this: Mandos does not invent doom. He reveals it, and revelation, as anyone who has ever checked an old message thread knows, can be far more terrifying than creation. His halls become the appointed waiting place for elven spirits, a concept that already feels heavy. Elves do not truly die, yet they do not escape consequence. When their bodies fall, their fear are summoned west, drawn by a call that is less a command than gravity. In Mandos they wait, not in torment, but in reflection. Time stretches. Memories replay with uncomfortable clarity. Imagine being left alone with every decision you ever made, minus the ability to rationalize them away. Cozy, right? It is here that Mandos' power reveals its peculiar nature. He does not punish in the human sense. There are no whips, no flames, no dramatic trial scenes. Instead, there is truth. Some spirits are rehoused swiftly, returning to Valinor in renewed form. Others wait ages, or indefinitely, because readiness is not guaranteed by regret alone. One quirky tidbit often overlooked is that Mandos does not personally judge every case. Much of the waiting is self-imposed, the spirit unable to move on until it understands itself. Even in Arda, the worst critic is often you. Yet Mandos steps fully into the story when silence is no longer enough. The Noldor, restless and proud, gather before him after the theft of the Silmarils. Feanor burns with defiance, his words sharp enough to cut stars. It is then that Mandos rises, and the air tightens. The doom of Mandos is spoken, not shouted, not embellished, simply laid bare. Blood will follow blood. Tears unnumbered will fall. Betrayal will reap betrayal, and even victory will taste of ash. This is not a curse flung in anger. It is a forecast delivered without cushioning. Doom of Mandos. Tears unnumbered ye shall shed, and the Valar will fence Valinor against you and shut you out, so that not even the echo of your lamentation shall pass over the mountains. On the house of Feanor, the wrath of the Valar lieth from the west unto the uttermost east, and upon all that will follow them it shall be laid also. Their oath shall drive them, and yet betray them, and ever snatch away the very treasures that they have sworn to pursue. To evil end shall all things turn that they begin well, and by treason of kin unto kin and the fear of treason shall this come to pass. The dispossessed shall they be forever. Ye have spilled the blood of your kindred unrighteously, and have stained the land of Ammon. For blood ye shall render blood, and beyond Ammon ye shall dwell in death's shadow. For though Eru appointed to you to die not in Ea, and no sickness may assail you, yet slain ye may be, and slain ye shall be, by weapon, and by torment, and by grief. And your houseless, bodiless spirits shall come then to Mandos. There long shall ye abide and yearn for your bodies, and find little pity, though all whom ye have slain should entreat for you. And those that endure in Middle-earth and come not to Mandos shall grow weary of the world as with a great burden, and shall wane, and become as shadows of regret before the younger race that cometh after. The Valar have spoken. The power here lies not only in foresight, but in inevitability once knowledge is given. The Noldor hear the doom and choose to proceed anyway. This distinction matters. Mandos does not force their hand. He tells them the price clearly, calmly, like a cosmic receipt. Later generations often ask whether things might have turned out differently had the doom never been spoken. Middle-earth historians still debate whether foreknowledge accelerates tragedy or merely removes the comfort of denial. The echoes of Mandos's words ripple far beyond the First Age. Every broken oath, every kinslaying, every lonely death in Beleriand hums with that original sentence. Even when the Valar fall silent afterward, the doom keeps working, not as magic, but as consequence unfolding with grim patience. There is a faint, dark humor in this. Mandos speaks once, and the world spends centuries proving him right. By the time of the Lord of the Rings, Mandos never appears directly, and yet his presence lingers like a remembered dream. When Gandalf falls in Moria, his spirit passes out of thought and time, a phrase that makes lore enthusiasts lean forward in their chairs. Some suggest he passes briefly through Mandos. Others argue he is recalled directly by Eru. Middle-earth historians still debate whether Mandos has authority over the Maiar in death, or whether Gandalf's return bypasses the Doomsman entirely. Either way, the idea that even a wizard must pass some unseen threshold reinforces Mandos's quiet dominion. There is also the matter of prophecy. Mandos is associated with foresight so accurate that it borders on uncomfortable spoilers. Yet Tolkien is careful. Mandos does not chatter. He does not wander about Valinor ruining surprises. His prophecies surface only when the world reaches a point where ignorance would be cruelty. Even then, they arrive stripped of explanation. No comforting footnotes, no alternative endings. Just the truth, standing there, arms crossed, daring you to blink first. One light joke sometimes shared among lore circles is that Mandos would be the worst possible dinner guest. Ask him how your life will turn out, and he will tell you accurately, but without tone, reassurance, or follow-up advice. Then he will go back to eating in silence, leaving you to reconsider every decision you have ever made while awkwardly passing the salt. Despite his severity, Mandos is not cruel. Mercy exists within his halls, though it moves at a glacial pace. He allows exceptions only once, famously permitting Luthien to leave the world after death, moved by love and song. This moment cracks his otherwise unyielding facade, suggesting that even doom can bend, just barely when confronted with something purer than fate itself. It is telling that this exception does not undo death, but reframes it, offering choice where none should exist. And so Mandos remains, seated, watchful, patient. While other Valar shape seas, raise mountains, or kindle stars, he governs something far more fragile, the meaning of endings. In a world obsessed with beginnings and triumphs, Mandos presides over what comes after, reminding Arda that actions do not vanish when the music stops playing. They echo, they wait, and eventually they come home to roost in silence. Echoes beyond the circles. The doom, once spoken, does not fade. It settles into the bones of the world like a remembered ache that flares whenever history bends too sharply. Long after the lamps fall, after the trees die, after Beleriand itself sinks beneath the sea, Mandos remains seated in the west, listening to the slow footsteps of time. The ages turn, and while kingdoms rise and collapse with impressive enthusiasm, the rules he guards do not soften. They simply wait. By the Third Age, the world feels smaller, more worn around the edges. Magic thins, legends turn into half-remembered songs, and even the wise speak more cautiously, as though afraid of jinxing themselves. Mandos is never named aloud in Middle-earth during this time, yet his influence is quietly everywhere. Every oath taken weighs heavier than it should. Every choice feels final in a way earlier ages might have shrugged off. This is the long shadow of doom, not dramatic, not theatrical, but persistent. When Aragorn walks the paths of the dead, there is an unspoken tension in the air that goes beyond fear. Oaths matter here. The dead men of Dunharrow linger because they broke a vow sworn long ago, and breaking vows is precisely the sort of thing Mandos never forgets. Their unrest is not a curse hurled at them, but a consequence allowed to persist until fulfilled. Middle-earth historians still debate whether Mandos himself bound them, or whether the universe simply enforces his principles automatically, like a cosmic terms of service agreement no one actually reads. The dead are released only when the oath is finally kept. No loopholes, no partial credit. Once fulfilled, they are allowed to rest, and that permission feels distinctly Mandos-like. Doom is not eternal punishment, it is unfinished business. Finish the task, and even the dead may sleep. It is a strangely comforting system, if you don't think about it too hard. Then there is the matter of Frodo Baggins. He survives the quest, saves the world, and still cannot remain whole. His wounds linger, unseen but unhealed. When he sails west, some listeners imagine it as a reward, a peaceful retirement with nice views and decent weather. But beneath the soft imagery lies something closer to Mandos's domain. Frodo has reached the end of what Middle-earth can offer him. His story there is complete. Healing, if it comes at all, must come elsewhere. Middle-earth historians still debate whether Frodo ever truly enters the Halls of Mandos after death, or whether his suffering places him in a unique category, suspended between mortal fate and elvish grace. Tolkien never spells it out, and that silence feels intentional. Mandos's power works best when not diagrammed. Too much explanation dulls its edge. A fringe tidbit often overlooked is Mandos's relationship with time itself. Unlike other Valar, he does not seem bound by linear progression. He remembers the future as calmly as the past, which may explain why he appears almost weary, even at the dawn of days. Knowing every ending before the opening note finishes playing would drain the excitement out of anyone. Perhaps that is why he speaks so rarely. When you know how everything turns out, small talk loses its charm. Yet even Mandos is not beyond limitation. His authority, vast as it is, does not override Eru Ilúvatar. He cannot unmake death for men, nor can he permanently bar hope from the world. Doom in Tolkien's legendarium is never nihilistic. It is stern, exacting, and often painful, but it leaves room for grace. The return of Gandalf, the mercy shown to Gollum, the unexpected resilience of hobbits, these moments suggest that beyond Mandos's sentences lies something deeper still, a final harmony, not yet revealed. Middle-earth historians still debate whether Mandos himself understands this ultimate harmony, or whether even he waits, like everyone else, for the last chord of the music. If he knows, he does not say. If he does not know, he waits with professional composure. Either option feels equally on brand. And so the world moves toward its quiet end. The elves depart, one by one, answering the call westward. Dwarves fade into legend. Men inherit the world and its uncertainties. Through it all, Mandos remains, keeping the long account, ensuring that nothing truly meaningful is lost or forgotten. His power is not domination, but remembrance. In a universe where even stars may fade, memory itself becomes sacred. The thought is oddly soothing, that somewhere beyond the noise of battles and the clamor of ambition, there exists a place where every story is held intact, where mistakes are acknowledged, not erased, where endings are honored for what they are. Mandos does not rush the world toward its conclusion. He simply ensures that when the end comes, it will make sense. The pacing slows now. The echoes soften. The halls of Mandos grow dimmer, not with darkness, but with rest. Words are no longer needed. The listener drifts, suspended between what has been said and what remains unspeakable. Doom is no longer a threat, only a certainty. And certainty, when finally accepted, can feel like peace. The stones are cool. The air is still. Somewhere far away, the sea sighs. And even that sound seems to pause before moving on. Mandos waits, patient as ever, not watching, not judging, simply keeping the world's promises intact, until the last note fades and silence becomes complete.